Recording in progress.
You're a recording in progress.
Oh, yeah.
We are all the recording in progress. Welcome back, everybody, to a special episode of SINless, the Shadowrun podcast that puts the sin in SINless.
The sin and less?
You know what? That sounded way more awesome than I was able to deliver on.
It sounded better in my head.
I'm Dr. Friendship, by the way. I play Loki in season 1 of SINless and Ghost in season 2. I am joined today by probably Karma. He plays Otto in both season 1 and season 2 of SINless. How are you, Karma?
I'm doing great. Fantastic. Woo.
Oh,
Woo.
by the way, if you guys aren't aware, probably Karma actually has his own podcast. He's got a 5e actual play podcast called An Absolute Dreckstorm Podcast. And if you haven't listened to that, you absolutely should, because it's amazing and it follows a group of runners that get into a lot of trouble. They're called Group H. Get into a lot of trouble with the Draco Foundation and dragon shenanigans afoot. So if you guys want some crazy, wild, what would you call it, malarkey?
If you would like to see how runners can easily take things off the rails.
Yeah, that's
yeah. Go listen to An Absolute Dreckstorm, guys.
That's the best way I could describe that. I don't know how you handle them. Kudos to you, sir.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
You're a very patient person, Karma.
Listen, there's a lot that gets cut from episodes.
We also got So Easy Mode, the GM of SINless, and also the host of our fantastic lore podcast, Shadowrun on Empty. Easy, how the heck are you?
I have a drink in hand, so I'm doing good.
Nice. I actually have some beers upstairs. I have just gotten back from like a 3.5. Well, it was probably actually about a 4.5 hour drive today.
You should go grab one. We'll wait for you.
I don't know, dude, because if I'm tired. And I'll be like kind of drunk by the end, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to be like this by the end of the podcast.
Maybe the listeners want you to be that way by the end.
I want you to be. I think it'd be funny.
I am not a whore. Okay. I will not dance for your amusement. Okay. I'm happy to help tell dope stories that you guys enjoy, but yeah, I'm not gonna like get drunk just for everybody's laughs.
He's got no strings on me.
So I figured tonight we would just do a quick post-season wrap up. We finished season 1 and season 2, and season 3 is being worked on currently. But one of the main things we wanted to come out and tell you guys, we're recording this before the final episode of season 2 has dropped. So if you guys are on the Patreon, you'll probably get this right when we do the pre-release for our final season 2 episode. So watch that first. If you already started this, stop, go back and watch that first.
Oopsie-daisy.
Okay, because there's gonna be a lot of spoilers in this. All right, if you haven't watched all of SINless, be forewarned that there's probably going to be a lot of spoilers in this. So you may want to stop now and come back to this episode later.
Yeah, this is a rap session, so
yeah.
We
don't get an actual rap party, so we just get to do another recording.
Hey, we tried to get everybody too, but life stuff. So
yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Stupid adulting.
Yeah, you're stuck with us. Sorry.
Everything got to cost money and like responsibilities. Hell, man.
Yeah, damn responsibilities.
Like my biggest mistake as a child was wishing that I was an adult.
Yeah,
that's everybody's mistake. We all go through that.
I grew up and I was like, shit.
I mean, I'm going to be 100% transparent. I'm clearly still a child in an adult's body.
Look, man, I keep trying to hang on to it, man. I'm hanging on as hard as I can. You'll get there one day, Karma.
Yeah, I'm still young and thriving, so I'm doing great, actually.
Hey, wait a minute. Are you saying we're not thriving? How dare you?
You guys are beyond your peak years. It's okay.
Oh, God, that hurts so much. You have no idea. That I took that personally.
Good.
Good. Fantastic. This is already starting out great, you guys. I have such high hopes now.
All right, so yeah, season 1 and season 2 are basically a complete story. We finished season 2, and that is where we decided to end the story of Jotunheim and Asgard. So it's a little bit bittersweet. We're all sort of sad about it, but at the same time, it opens us up to be able to tell a different story, and that's what we're going to be doing for season 3. So the characters that you've grown to know and love, they are canon now. Asgard and Jotunheim are canon in our world. They exist. We may run into that stuff again, as an aside. Who knows? But we are ending this particular story and starting with a fresh one, a new one. Um, like I said, it's a little bit sad. I don't know. How do you guys feel about it?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely sad, especially with how the ending of Otto's situation
Well, you could talk
leaves.
about it because we already gave a
Well,
spoiler
okay,
disclaimer.
yeah, fair enough. With Otto being trapped in magical purgatory, essentially
Whoa,
for
whoa, 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 whoa. It's not magical purgatory. It's just the metaplanes, okay?
yeah, that's the
Calm
same
down.
thing. It is an unfortunate outcome, which I feel like death may be more preferred, but
Well, I
so
mean, to be fair, Amazing did that to you.
that is true. It is entirely his fault.
Yeah, he
And
he he was
Once
trying to do
again,
something good, but no, he didn't. Once again, it's
yeah.
all Amazing's fault. Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, once
yes,
again,
that's where I was going. Yes, yeah.
pretty much every issue in our entire campaigns can actually be correlated to him. So that makes sense.
Well, no, that's not true.
No,
That's
no,
not
that's
true.
not
No,
that's not
I'm
fair.
pretty sure every single one. It's okay.
No,
We don't have
no,
to.
not
He's not here. He can't defend himself. It's okay.
throwing him under the bus. It's fine.
Just because you guys have this mage rivalry doesn't mean that we're not going to be honest about it.
Whatever.
I mean, like I know for sure, like I intentionally caused some problems with Loki. We can get into that like a little bit later because I think we're going to talk about our characters in a little bit here. But I definitely intentionally created some problems with that character. I know Flounder had a couple of mess ups. You know what I mean? He screwed the pooch on like a number of occasions.
Yeah.
Zero's whole backstory was just a problem.
True. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Otto didn't have any issues. He was a perfect little angel the entire campaign. So that was great.
Weirdly enough, you're really not wrong about that. Honestly, and despite like the whole being a ghoul thing, I can't believe that didn't come up more.
I did a good job of avoiding every other living being that I wasn't going to kill.
And also not succumbing to your ravenous hunger for man flesh.
Well, I did sometimes. Technically, I did do that, but
Well, right, but like you didn't like jump on somebody like out in the streets.
that we know of.
Well, okay,
No one that mattered.
All right, something you want to tell me here?
No, it's okay. It's in the past. We don't need to talk about it anymore.
We'll talk about Otto in a little bit here, I think. One of the things we wanted to do is easy. I know like you have some pretty complex stories, and I know for sure that you don't get to you don't get to explore a lot of the things that you plan sometimes. And I thought it would be cool for the fans, and also for me personally, this is really like a purely selfish thing, but the fans win too. To talk about some of the stuff that you had planned or things that were going on in the background that we never got to address, that never came up in any of the shows. Stuff that most people outside of yourself like really wouldn't know about that was happening during the 2 seasons that we were playing the story. What do you got for us? Give me the juicy tidbits.
Well, I mean, there was a whole kind of like sub story that we never got to explore because unfortunately the life issues that befell one of our players, for namely Flounder, I had plans for him and to introduce some more of his backstory, but unfortunately we never got to really go down that road. We had to like course correct and
Right.
and move the story in a different direction, which is why Zero got so much more attention in that first season.
Oh, by the way, Flounder's player is doing a lot better. I talked to him like a week ago, I think. He's back home now. He had a bunch of surgeries done. He's basically like in recovery from that stuff, and we're all wishing him the best. So, if you guys are listening to this, go over to YouTube and drop some comments. You know, uh, maybe drop like a yellow heart in the chat or something to let Flounder know that you're thinking about him. Because he actually does check this stuff, even though he's not like he doesn't comment on stuff and we don't see him too often. He does stop in and he does watch all this stuff. So if you guys are want to wish him well, then yeah, just go over to YouTube on this episode and maybe put a yellow heart for the color of his hoodie in the comment section. Let him know that you're wishing him well. But he's doing good, and we're happy to hear that, and we're hoping that he makes a full recovery real soon.
Excellent news.
Yeah. You want to tell us more about his backstory that you had planned? Like, what did you have worked up for him?
So I was gonna steal a little bit from the Batman storyline of the Society of Owls.
Okay.
And we were gonna dip into that with like the Mask Society into the crime, where it's these elitists that are moving into the Barrens, trying to regentrify the area, sort of. And it was going to kind of be like that, just a little bit of stepping more into street justice and creating more of the tale of Flounder and being this kind of vigilante hero of the Barrens.
Damn, that would have been cool. Man, maybe
I had a lot tied in with the gangs and everything that was going on. That's where I wanted to go.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, it would have been interesting.
I don't know, man. Maybe it's worth exploring later, like once he recovers. Maybe we can reach out to him and talk to him.
It's always a possibility. Remember, he did survive.
Yeah, he did.
Lucky him.
He did also save you guys in that Halloweener episode too, where we did that cameo.
He did do that too. So he was definitely out there doing the thing. That's kind of a cool concept. Like I'm curious to see where that goes. Hopefully we can work that out. No promises out there, but we'll see if we can make that happen. And do like maybe a mini series or something.
Mm-hmm.
What else was in the bag that you didn't get to dig into too much?
There was more possibility with good old Sam Hickory.
Oh my God, please bring him back.
God damn it.
Please bring him back. He was the best character.
He's still tooling around. Like, he got out of Seattle, like you guys suggested, but he's still around. So there's in all possibility of revisiting the Sam Hickory character.
I know who I want my next character to be.
Oh my God, Sam Hickory season 3, make it happen, please. Yeah, I think we need to figure out a way to tie him in. Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, he was. There was always more that could be done with him because he's just involved in that criminal underworld.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's that guy that knows everybody,
Mm-hmm.
and potentially has dirt on different people that he shouldn't have, but he's a complete sleazeball. So,
oh my God,
nobody trusts him anyway.
You're giving me so many ideas right now. He would make a good fixer.
Yeah, that was one of the ideas I was working with, was him eventually stepping into being like another fixer role for you guys that you kind of organically sourced, but then you kind of threatened his life.
Reasonably threatened his life.
Kind reasonably.
Of deserved.
He helped you out of a jam.
That is true, I suppose.
He helped the maging out of a jam.
I suppose one of the other big ones that we didn't get to explore a whole lot is the Firewatch angle.
Yeah.
With that secret Ares organization that you guys found out about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
we didn't
mean,
get to
they
we
weren't
didn't
the
get to do
easiest
a
to
whole
track
lot
down.
there.
You know,
No, not exactly.
you didn't make it like easy for us to like I don't know. We couldn't call them on the hotline or anything.
No, I mean you had access to Nemo, which is part of the way that could have worked out.
Yeah,
You also don't know what happened to Mr. Nemo.
yeah.
True.
What did happen to Mr. Nemo?
Oh
Corporate
man,
shakeup.
there's so much that happened that all led to that final episode. Like it was a complete domino effect that happened off off screen completely. It was
Okay,
a full domino fall down that happened starting from when you agreed to do that job and how you guys executed it.
which job?
The stealing his daughter,
Okay,
kidnapping his daughter.
that's what I figured you were talking about. But
Yeah.
go on. Like elaborate on this domino effect because I'm not privy to any of this information.
So it all starts there. You do the job for him, right?
Hmm.
And you burn the house down. You
Whoops.
decide to burn the house down. You don't kill the ex-wife. You let her live, which he didn't really care one way or the other.
Right.
And then you do what he sent you to do, which is acquire his daughter, but you guys execute the boyfriend.
Which is Ghost's fault.
To be fair, the house was my fault too.
Yeah, the entire run was kind of your fault, you know?
Hey, look, like that run was a success. Okay,
That is true. We did succeed.
we did exactly what he asked us to do, and we got
You
paid
guys
for it.
almost didn't succeed.
You know.
We
At the end
totally
there,
succeeded.
at the end where you brought her to the location and the house and everything, you guys almost seriously messed up.
Well,
What would have been the mess up?
Well, they were there to just drop off the guy and they hung out longer than they were supposed to
Oh
because
yeah, that.
yeah.
it was supposed to be the fall guy to make it look like, a kidnapping gone wrong and everything. And
Mm.
they're still there. And it's just like, what the hell are you doing? You're supposed to be gone. You're not supposed to be privy to any of this. But the one that really kicks off the whole domino start is you killed the boyfriend.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the boyfriend is also a corp kid that is the son of an executive of another corporation.
Oh shit. So it was like a Romeo and Juliet situation.
Yeah, they were in like a prep school together. There's this whole backstory which you obviously never would have gotten into unless you did mind probing or something. But yeah, I had this whole backstory. Like they have this romantic involvement with each other. They're not supposed to because their parents work for opposite corporations, but they find each other at this prep school for corp executive kids.
Okay.
And they end up falling in love and all that Romeo Juliet type situation. But he ends up dead at her place, well, close to her place in the woods. And so there's a whole big investigation, and one of the problems was you guys used magic while you were there.
Ah.
And they had a corporate security team go in and actually start tracking.
So it was Amazing's fault.
That one's on Amazing. Yeah, that's his fault. Only him.
That stupid pillow.
The liberal use of levitate comes back to bite you.
Oh my god. A whole new world.
Well, yeah, not only does it start there, but because of who the son was seeing, the other executive kind of puts some ideas together and eventually has his own snatch and grab team go and acquire Nemo and asks him aggressive questions.
Interesting. So was there like a chance that was going to like cause some blowback for us?
Yeah, possibly.
Ooh.
I mean, because ultimately the daughter would have been used as a bargaining chip in that, and that's like, do you want to live and be with your daughter, or do you want her to just enter the system and get kicked to someplace? So lots of aggressive interrogation that happened, and then after that, after they got the information that they needed, then it was they sent infiltrators into Asgard. And since you guys kind of have an open door policy towards the homeless, it was not hard for them to make inroads.
But that's where my gas went.
Yeah, they definitely stole a crate.
Those guys, dude.
Yeah. Otto meets those 8 guys that are in the cafeteria that all are dual natured. That was the Blood Panther strike team making the whole mental map of the compound and finding where everything is and knowing where they need to be.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that part is Bear's fault because I told him about it and he just never did anything about it. So, once again, not my fault.
You know what? Like, let's not talk about that. Because, like, as a player, I was like, man, like, we need to be all over this. Like, this is like something that's like serious,
There were plenty of alerts and like questions that were going around and just building up, but you guys were more interested in finding super ghouls and stopping super ghouls, and then Spider got kidnapped, and then it was revenge and revenge, followed by more revenge.
We had a lot on our plate,
Well, yeah, you tunnel visioned onto what you wanted to do. I still told you things that were going on in the background. Like in all of my worlds, what happens in the background doesn't stop just because you're doing main storyline stuff. Like life goes on.
That sounds like a video game that I would play.
Yeah, like stuff happens in the background whether you engage with it or not. And a lot of the things that go on in my stories are like reactive to what the players are doing. You know how I usually do it and how I usually write everything. Like I have the idea, and then you guys do stuff, and then I have to think, well, then how will people react to what has just happened because of what the players did or what they didn't do? And then there are just these reactions that are going on in the background. And I try to give you, ideas and everything, but whether you run with them or not, that is always up to you guys. I never put it directly in your face, or I never try to hit you over the head with it or anything like that, because you have so many different plot threads to pull on at all times. You can go wherever you want. That's how I like it,
I mean,
I feel like it gives you plenty to do.
It definitely makes for a like very dynamic world. It feels like a real world.
Yeah, that's what I try to go for. I want it to feel lived in every time.
I think you do a pretty good job with that. What do you guys think? What do you guys think out there? Do you guys think Easy does a pretty good job at making a living, breathing world for us to screw up in? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, let us know. Stop by. One of the other big ones, I guess, that we never touched on. You guys never put together that thing that you stole from the hospital.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot all about that thing.
You never used it. You had it just sitting up there in the infirmary collecting dust. You never turned it on. You never used it.
Well, the doctor asked for it. We went and got it, and then he was like, "Yeah, I don't really need this."
Well, he had it. Whether you wanted to use it or not, that was up to you guys.
What was it? What did it like? What would have happened if we would have like put somebody in there and turned it on?
It's like a master surgery suite that aids in installing new cyberware.
Okay.
So if you would have either found cyberware that you wanted or come into new cyberware that you wanted installed, you could do it yourself.
Oh, so like those bags of parts that I was collecting in season 1 with Loki, I mean, we could have saved those.
Technically, although they would have been poor quality because they were gnawed upon, but whatever.
Hey man.
The other thing too that you guys never ever dove into at all was Doc's backstory.
He had a backstory?
Yeah, he had a whole backstory.
Oh my god, tell me about this guy's backstory. The doc was great.
Yeah, Doc was actually former Doc Wagon.
Oh, cool.
No.
Yeah, he was a former Doc Wagon guy, and then he just went freelance after his entire team got toasted in uh, in a mission where they were going to save a high value target. He was the only one to walk away from it.
No wonder he's so grumpy all the time.
Yeah, he's jaded, man.
I've seen things.
Yes. Yeah, he's an expert medical physician. So that's why he was always really good at patching you guys up.
That's
Like he definitely knew his stuff, but yeah, he was just the doc to you guys. You didn't want to step in and more into his story or anything. He was just there, just
All right.
NPC there.
Look, to be fair though, he wasn't the most talkative dude. Like he
No,
absolutely felt like, look, just leave me alone kind of thing.
In season 2, it would have been easier for some of the remaining characters to like approach him and kind of get him to open up, but that just never happened.
Yeah, I feel like Ghost had, probably the best chance of that.
I think Otto and the doc interacted like maybe 3 times the entire. Otto never got seriously injured, so the only time he was ever in the hospital room was when someone else was in there and he needed to talk to that person.
That's true.
Well, all right, I disagree that Otto never seriously got injured. I think Otto got the most seriously injured out of anyone.
Well, okay, curable injuries.
Oh, I see. Curable injuries. That's true.
That's crazy though. Like I never thought to like even ask him just because of how like standoffish you played his character.
Yeah.
It never like came up to me to like even like question, okay, this guy is just like he's just here, he doesn't want to talk. Like he's just grumpy all the time. Just patch me up and we'll leave him alone. I never thought about like actually being like, hey man, so what's your story? You seem like an interesting guy. You probably like seen some stuff. Like tell me about yourself.
Again, any NPC that I introduce into the story to interact with you guys potentially has that power to where you could latch onto them and dig in and everything and unravel this whole story that they could have.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind for
again. Yeah, again, like lived in world, man. Everybody's from someplace.
Season 3, I'm just going to start talking to random people on the street.
I'm just going to start shooting random people on the street. They don't get to have a life in this world.
That's a good way to get yourself on a wanted list.
Well, I don't have to worry about their backstory if their backstory ends.
Well,
I don't have to worry about their backstory if they're dead.
Unless they have like a vindictive family member or something.
Well, I'll end their backstory too. It's okay.
Wow.
So you're just going to murder Hobo in season 3, huh?
It is a strategy we have not tried yet. It might be effective.
That's true. We've pretty much stuck to fire the entire time.
Yeah, that is kind of our...
I don't know about that. I beg to differ on the murder hobo.
What are you gonna do? Kill me?
I would like to bring into evidence for this murder hoboing, nerve gassing entire building.
All right,
hey man,
touche.
Hey, like Ghost is an efficient like planner. Okay,
a war criminal that would like the Geneva Convention would love to interview.
It's not a war crime the first time.
Oh, you have to do it twice.
Also, in order for it to be a war crime, it has to be in a war zone, like in a war.
Okay. So it was just a mass murder. Okay.
Yeah. Technically, it was just terrorism.
Good old terrorism, my favorite.
There we go. It's just everyday terrorism.
For any law enforcement agencies that are watching this, we are talking about a fictional game where this never really happened. So please don't send me any strongly worded letters or court documents or anything like that. This never happened. It was pretend. So
it was all in pretend land.
If you're listening to this, I know like you guys listen to Shadowrun because you have to with the bragging Google searches that we have to do.
Oh, geez. I'm definitely on a watch list because of those.
Like, what is the effective kill radius of a Claymore mine? Like, you're like,
Look, I'm
oh,
definitely on a watch list because I had to look up a bunch about Nerf gas. Okay, so I'm probably on an FBI watch list somewhere.
listen, FBI agent Kevin, we we are not really doing this stuff. This is all research for a make-believe show, okay? We're
I
playing
guess
pretend here.
I guess that's another thing too. We only briefly dealt with the FBI. We didn't go a whole lot into that story either.
Thank God.
But
Well, you guys,
we did expand on Kevin's lore, which is
we
pretty
did.
pretty
Yes,
interesting. Kevin was a good character.
I had planned that for a while. Yeah,
Yeah, Kevin was fun, dude.
I was excited.
Yeah, one question I did have though is what was up with the fucking programming that he had in that episode where
Oh
like
yeah.
Flounder's babysitting him and then he jumps out the window?
Yeah.
What was up with that like that programming?
So remember the doctor that you shot in the face?
Yes.
That Zero shot in the face? Yeah, the doctor was running experiments and doing, you know, Manchurian candidate stuff in the hospital, and Kevin was one of his subjects.
Kevin from
Ah,
the FBI was one of his subjects.
Yes.
This was while he was working in the FBI or
No, this is before. This is while he's working just for the hospital. Like he's just the janitor, you know?
oh, okay. So he goes from being a janitor to an FBI agent?
Well, yeah, he
kind of
gets
based.
recruited. He
Goals.
gets recruited after he flees from you guys.
No kidding.
Yeah, there's some stuff that goes down where he gets caught in an attempted assassination,
Jesus.
and they interrogate him and they figure out that he's been brainwashed basically.
Damn.
This all happens while you guys are going overseas.
Okay.
Remember, because that
Yeah.
takes a few months of travel.
Right.
So yeah, this is all happening back in your absence.
Okay.
So yeah, and then because of the skills that he still retains even after they break the conditioning, they decide to keep him on as like a they decide to keep him on as an agent. And
Interesting.
that's why we get Agent Kevin. Yeah.
When he comes back as Agent Kevin, he's like way more confident,
Yeah.
which is kind of like interesting to me because Kevin was always like a meek, like nobody kind of character.
Mm-hmm.
And to have him come back as like this like government badass was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it
He
was
had a complete turnaround, you know?
yeah, I like that. Like I like seeing that like he actually had like kind of an upside to his story because he was a real tragic character.
Mm-hmm.
For quite a while. There was just like it was just bad for Kevin, and that was like his story was bad stuff happens to Kevin.
Yeah.
And it's kind of nice to like see that like something sort of good happened with him. Sort of.
Sort of.
Sort
Yeah.
of.
Kind of. I mean, who knows what happened to him now
That's true.
Yeah.
Who knows?
after he
Especially after the cleanup that's got to happen.
yeah, ooh, ew. Ugh.
I guess one of the other things that you didn't hit on in season 2 was you never found out who the mystery individual was.
Mystery individual?
Which
Yeah,
one?
the guy that you briefly saw and you caught the photos of that was
Oh,
standing.
the
yeah.
vampire?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we were told specifically not to look into it, so
That's true. By somebody
you
that
were
was
told
very
also-
scary.
You were told not to go overseas. You didn't say he couldn't look into it.
Well, no,
True.
he did say that. Harlequin did say, "Oh yeah, don't worry about that guy. I'll take care of him. Leave him alone." He might not have said leave him alone.
He might not have said
something
leave
around
him
there. Who knows?
alone.
Nevertheless,
That's what I got out of that whole thing was just to like not mess with that dude because
and
he
I
had
think
to have him.
I think Otto tried to push on it, and he kind of got pissed off at me. So I think it was kind of aware to all of us we probably shouldn't have looked into it. and we probably forgot about him. So if we're being honest,
I didn't forget about him, but
well, I did.
I kept taking pictures of him.
Okay, well, fair enough.
So who was he?
He was a baron from Eastern Europe.
Oh,
Huh? What?
why?
Yeah, he was a baron from Eastern Europe because he's a vampire.
Oh, okay,
Right.
of course.
Like a true vampire.
Oh, I see. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, most of what you were dealing with were his thralls.
Mm.
Gotcha. So how did they tie into Blue Chip?
So the whole backstory for Blue Chip was they were recruiting the downtrodden to use them as organ bags.
Yeah, like essence farming.
Yummy.
Not necessarily essence farming. I mean, they're harvesting them for their organs to keep the ghoul nation alive.
Mm.
Like it was their black market organ trade basically that they're running
Okay.
because they belong to what is that? I forget the name of the group off the top of my head. We talked about them when we talked about vampires.
Mm.
They're not Fear the Night. They're not the terrorist organization. They're the criminal organization for the ghouls and vampires that do like the genetic experiments for cloning so that they can have more food. So that was basically the whole idea behind Blue Chip, and part of that was some of that was being redirected to that baron in Eastern Europe because he was a member of Ordo Maximus,
Okay.
which is the vampire cabal.
Huh.
Yeah, and he was wanting it all for nefarious purposes of trying to, make terrible diseases and whatnot that they're working on. But
Right.
yeah, that's why Harlequin didn't want you guys to get involved with that.
Ah, gotcha.
Well, wonderful.
It's a little above your pay grade.
A little bit.
I feel like we could have handled it.
Oh, definitely. A vampire? Easy.
Yeah.
A true vampire? I don't know about that.
Give me some holy bullets.
Holy bullets.
Yeah, bullets blessed by a priest.
Yeah, because you guys were so well connected to the church.
I mean, someone in our group might have been religious, probably. I'm sure. Maybe. Actually, never mind.
No, not
No.
one of you. Not a one.
I think the closest thing might have been Spanner because he went to a church one time because I sent him there. He probably had the best bet right there. Any other good stuff that we didn't get into? I had something for a second there. I had a question, but you kept going on and on and on.
Oh, well, sorry.
What was it, dude?
Kept droning on.
It was something to do with Blue Chip. The whole Blue Chip thing. What? Oh no, it wasn't with Blue Chip. That's right. Who the hell were those guys that I kept buying guns from with Ghost?
Oh, those guys.
Yeah.
You were buying munitions from they were the 104th Armored Division is what they call themselves.
Okay.
But really they're just a wing for the New Revolution.
Of course.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great.
So you were buying munitions and everything from an organization that wanted to bring America back together again.
Oh my God.
Goodness.
And
dude,
of
I
course
love
they
those
would-
guys.
And of course they would sell to you because you're doing exactly what they want you to do, which is terrorism and creating distrust and everything in the current government. And so you're playing right into their hands, which is why they were like, "You're our best customer."
Oh my god, dude, those guys are great too. Oh, I can't
Yeah.
believe we didn't get to dig into that. That would have been so much fun.
Yeah, especially getting into the New Revolution connections, because they would have been getting a lot of that military grade stuff is actually coming out of the cost.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, the cost military is basically who was funding you, kind of.
Wow.
That's where
Man,
you're getting all the fun toys.
dude. Oh, okay.
So
That's
yeah,
okay,
there
that's
was that.
cool. You know, like if what happened hadn't happened, 100% that's where Ghost would have gone. He totally would have like linked up with those guys. Like, oh yeah, more toys? Oh, you
Yeah.
want me to use them and blow shit up?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, they do. You would have fit in real well. You would have been their go-to.
Oh man, he would have had to like get a red, white, and blue like paint job on his drone chair. The Homelander cape. Like,
Oh my god.
all right, all right.
The your aerial drones start playing Flights of the Valkyries.
Oh
You're
my
coming
God.
over that.
I love the smell of VX gas in the morning.
It doesn't smell like anything. It's a nerve gas.
If you smell it, you're already dead.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, the stats
That's
for
cool.
that, the stats for that were really gnarly.
Yeah, what you had to homebrew the stats, didn't you?
I did. I homebrewed the stats. I basically made it so virtually no one would live through it if they were exposed to it.
Ah,
Not even a troll with high body.
Sort of like, man.
Because it's made specifically to kill. Like, it's a nerve agent that was specifically designed to kill, so I had to make it extremely lethal. So I made it as lethal as possible because it's supposed to be military grade. So I took into consideration, what would a troll with high body be able to survive? What would a dwarf with high body be able to survive, because they have resistance to toxins? Technically, a nerve agent is a toxin, so I would allow that. So I made it super, super deadly.
mm.
Yeah,
Well,
the
that's
nerve
fun.
agent, the nerve agent starts at deadly damage.
Jesus.
Nice.
Yeah, it starts at deadly, and you have to resist unmodified body, mind you, just your natural body. Plus, if you have resistance to toxins, you get a bonus, right? But you're resisting like 20D.
Oh,
God damn.
Yeah, there's no way you're living through it.
Yeah, I only can do like 5 Ds at once.
wait,
Got
wait, do
the
you have like
same
a
kind
third
of
arm?
D's. He's got his ghoul powers.
Okay, Karma's over here going full Shiva mode.
Mecha Shiva. Mecha Shiva.
Oh, that's great.
So yes, I specifically made the nerve toxin extremely deadly.
That's fair. That was a fun moment. Like I like once I got a hold of that, I was like, oh yeah, I know exactly what I'm gonna do with this. Like it took me about 2 minutes to come up with the plan, and I was like, yeah, we're changing this. I'm not blowing that building up. We're just gonna gas the whole thing.
And it worked.
It worked out so good too. I like, not to toot my own horn, but I come up with some pretty good plans sometimes, man. I mean, unless it like, winds up having blowback for, corporate fixers.
You
You killed the wrong person. That's all that happened.
Yeah, but maybe I killed the right person because, we got out from under Nemo's thumb unintentionally.
True. And then we died. So,
Well, okay, I was gonna say that wasn't my fault, but it kind of was.
Kind of was.
It kind of was my fault.
Karma, do you have any
um,
questions about threads that you didn't pull on that you wanted to?
oh God, I don't know if I think Friendship kind of answered them all. Otto just stuck to his, especially towards the end of the season. He just stuck to the main story. He stopped caring about everything. It was too much. He was just there for the ride at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you
What a
want to talk
ride.
about our characters a little bit?
No, I don't actually.
Really?
No, let's just not talk about our characters ever again. How about that? No, we can
Wow.
talk about it. No.
But I had
They're gone.
questions.
Well, you can. We'll have the viewers come up with the answers. They can create the lore for
Oh
our
my
characters.
god, dude. That's not what we're doing here. We're supposed to be answering their questions, not creating more of them.
They can make it up. That's fine.
I mean, like they're already doing that.
All right, fair enough.
Have you read the comments on YouTube? They're already doing that. We have to make it stop. We got to cut it off before it gets too big and out of our control. Um, well, like I did have a couple questions about Otto.
Sure.
How did you come up with like the concept for him at the beginning? Like back in season 1, when he was still like just a normal jack off. What was your idea? Behind the
Okay,
whole thing?
so I will tell the original story idea for Otto, and this was pitched to Easy, and uh he went off the idea quite a bit. But the very original plan for me that like I pitched and what I thought was the outcome until we actually reached it. So he was always, I mean, just knowing SINless, like there wasn't a lot of characters that were kind of, I mean, there's just in all really like most podcasts, I don't think I've ever seen a character where it's like, it's a dad, like he has a kid, he's a Shadowrunner, it sucks. Like, so that was the initial idea I wanted to run with. I always wanted to do a, like a father figure. Originally, I didn't want it to be Karma, but I thought it'd be funny. So I just did it. Um, and then the actual like character design, like mechanically, like being a supportive mage at the beginning, I actually just stole from one of my podcast players. One of the players on Dreckstorm, I just stole their character and made it better. And then it wasn't that much better. That's why he got a little reworked in season 2, but that's not important. But originally he was so at the start, it pretty much went exactly. He and Karma, would join the group and whatever. He was a dad, all that shenanigans. And then originally, I had it planned out that somehow Karma would just die, just straight up death. And it would cause Otto to go insane. And he would start looking into darker magic for a way of like trying to bring life back to his son. And he would get all fucking evil and shit like that. And actually, I talked to Bear about it. Bear was gonna like initially start helping him because Bear and Otto were like best friends, and so Bear would help and just kind of like Otto would keep going down a super dark path, like start performing like ritual sacrifices and shit like that. And eventually, the main group was gonna have issues with it because he's just straight up doing horrible shit at this point and like torturing people and like I said, ritual sacrifices and stuff like that. And so he was basically going to be like, all right, fuck you guys. Like, I don't need you and leave. And then he was going to come back. He was basically going to find some evil entity. And I planned like that was the end of Otto for me playing Otto. But then Otto was going to come back at another point in time and he was going to be a main bad guy. And basically, he found some evil entity that was like, hey, yeah, I'll bring back your kid if you go kill all your old friends or do something like that and stuff like that. So he was going to come back trying to kill the group. And in a way, he wasn't supposed to succeed. I didn't fucking come up with all the logistics. It was up to Easy to do it. But he succeeds in bringing back Karma in a fucked up way. Like Karma is like either like blessed with immortality or something, I don't know, some fucking shit like that or something, cursed, blessed, whatever you want to call it, or something like that. But then Otto ends up dying, probably due to you guys fucking murdering him. And originally my idea was in season 1, it was supposed to be like a season 1, season 2 kind of thing. Season 1, he was supposed to be that character. That's why he had such a struggle with his depression and his mental stuff. Is he was supposed to be a character that you weren't necessarily supposed to like, but you were supposed to sympathize with. Otto was never made to be a likable character. He's always been kind of an asshole. Never really took things seriously unless it was like, I mean, he kind of jumped the gun on a lot of things. He really didn't care about the consequences of his actions. 98 or not, maybe not 98, like 90% of the time, he didn't fully think things through, mostly because he didn't really care unless it affected his kid. So, but you were supposed to sympathize with him. You were supposed to be like, yeah, he's just a father that's gone through a lot. I mean, his wife fucking died and all of this horrible shit. And, he had to abandon his old home because he didn't feel safe with his son. And he's been in Seattle for like 3 months when he joins the group. So he's in a completely new area and everything like that. But like I said, he wasn't supposed to necessarily be a likable character, but you're supposed to look at him with sympathy. And then he turns evil. And in season 2, it's like, there's this character that we know is suffering and has basically just mentally lost it and isn't the character that we knew him as, and you are kind of supposed to hate him because now he's hunting down the main group and trying to murder them and causing all these issues, but he's still he used to be a friend, so it's kind of supposed to cause some emotional distress that way. And then Easy decided, and then Easy took it a completely different note. And I love how it turned out. I actually probably prefer how Otto, maybe not the very ending with him being locked in the meta planes, but I do like how it turned out with that, and the ending with Karma being fucking yoinked and stuff like that, and Otto not necessarily being dead, but being just kind of locked away and having to figure out who fucking knows what happens to him. I'm sure he won't appear in my podcast in Absolute Direct Storm. Who knows? Anyways, um yeah, I really do like how I was able to take this character, and I always justified it by because when he became a ghoul, he lost almost 3 points of essence or something like that. He just completely emotionally declined. And that's why in season 2 he was almost kind of a different character, where in season 1 he was an empathetic father who just wanted to protect his kid, but in season 2 he felt that he kind of lost everything, which is why he put it on Bear and Spider, hey, you guys are Karma's parents now, I can't do it anymore. And he just kind of became this dude who never took anything seriously, really, and was just kind of, he didn't really have a sense, he didn't really care if he lived or not. He wasn't going to kill himself despite maybe thoughts telling him to, but he was kind of at a point where he didn't really care at the end of the day if there was a bullet in his head or not. That's it.
That's pretty interesting. We never really got to explore some of his motivations. I think because of the way that you had him sort of in your head.
Yeah.
Because he's just I just don't care anymore. He goes from empathetic to apathetic, in the span of the off season between 1 and 2, and I think because of that, it made it kind of hard to really explore that side of him. So I had never heard that before, but that makes so much sense.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily something he was aware of either. It wasn't supposed to be this very obvious, it wasn't he's a total asshole now. Every now and then he would care and show some sympathy, but I mean, that's why when fucking that vampire regeneration motherfucker in the laboratory got murdered, that's why he freaked the fuck out, because it was that was in his mind a possible of going back to what he used to be, because he hates himself now, but he's kind of accepted it at the same time, and that was a chance to maybe return to who he used to be.
Honestly, that was one of my favorite beats of season 2. One of my favorites of season 1 was that him struggling with his mental health, and in season 2 that moment actually made what's the way I want to put it, it made him feel human.
Yeah.
I really liked that. I thought that was really well done, and the role play that you have consistently put out, when you get going and you have something to sink your teeth into, I think is really, really great. And it's definitely been some of my favorite moments from the show personally. Just as well, I mean, as a spectator watching you do your thing, it's oh, that's so good. Damn, that's really good. Really, really good emotional stuff. You have a very good way of creating an emotional response to somebody watching, and that's coming from somebody that's playing in the game.
Yeah, I appreciate that. What's funny
about,
I'm
damn.
What's funny about that beat, and I realized it I watched it back, and I don't even remember what episodes those happened in. But once like we're escaping and stuff like that, I am a player. Because here's the thing: originally, Otto didn't care, but like as it happened in like my mind, as I'm like the player's mind, I'm like, but Otto probably should have cared a lot more. And the last like 5 minutes of that episode, you can see me absolutely like all the gears running through my mind because I was like, I like it's almost as if I and Otto, like I don't even think I said anything else in the episode once that happened because I was just sitting there thinking like myself, the player, and Otto were processing what just happened and what that means. So like at the end of the episode, I didn't really seem like I cared a whole bunch. If anything, I was, but like I was just silent the entire time because me as a player was like, oh wait, actually that's like really bad. Like that actually, like I'm realizing like, oh wait, that might have been like an actual potential like cure for it. And that's why in the next episode it started off so I guess aggressive you can say on his part because not only did he realize but I as a player also realized like that was actually a potential on the car ride back that was a potential out. So I thought that was kind of fun. It wasn't like I didn't plan it. I literally thought about it like at the end of the episode. I was like, oh wait, shit, that actually might have been a bad thing.
And then you had to stew on it for a whole week.
Yeah, and then I had to fucking sit on it for a whole ass week, and that was a little annoying. But
No, good beats though, man. Really good beats. Like I don't know. I hope on that second one, like I was able to like kind of rise to the occasion with, Ghost like kind of get in the middle of all that,
I
you know.
do, yeah, I do really like that interacting because I mean, Ghost and Otto. I mean, besides the sly comments that Ghost would make at Otto being a fucking, a disgusting monster and shit like that, and Otto just never really interacted with him because, the vibes weren't there. And then it's just kind of at the end, it's like, hey man, we're not really good friends, but like shit sucks.
Yeah.
It was like we're not friends, we're work coworkers, and it was a sign of a show of sympathy from Ghost that I don't think we really got anywhere else with his character. I mean, Ghost
Uh,
was pretty much just there to earn money, and so it was nice seeing that connection formed. And then they did a job together and shit like that. So it was a little bonding towards the end from these two characters who pretty much just didn't care for each other the entire goddamn series.
well, that was kind of by design, you know.
Yeah.
I'm glad we were able to like find a moment to sort of like pull that back and,
Hmm.
make them both a little bit more relatable to each other.
Yeah.
Because I think that was like a good moment, I don't think that I can match like the level of role play that you bring when it comes to creating emotional beats. I'm just being perfectly honest, man. I'm not trying to like, toot your horn or anything like that. I'm
Hmm.
just being honest with like what I see, as somebody that's played a lot of games and, is now like creating entertainment out of them. You have like really strong emotional beats that you have the ability to just kind of create. Um, I don't think I can match that. I'm just glad I was able to be a part of it because it was pretty solid. One of my favorite moments in the entirety of season two. So,
Yeah, I agree. It was good.
yeah, good fucking job, dude.
Oh, another thing that I thought was funny about that interaction, because we talked about it before, or me and Spider did, is the end of the episode, Spider and Otto were supposed to like make up. And after the entire big ass argument in the hospital bay area with Bear, on the table and stuff, is like we originally planned on them kind of making up at the end of it, but it didn't feel right. Like the argument, like I just don't think it realistically either one of us would have, like I just don't think Otto would have accepted her apology. So originally we were planning on it just kind of like resolving right there, but we just I literally last minute I was like, actually no, go fuck yourself. Like, and that kind of took me by surprise because I was like, I don't like, as she was making her point, I was like, I as a player am still upset about it. Like I Otto's not gonna say yes, fuck you. And so that was kind of a I don't know, an enjoyable behind the scenes role playing moment for me because it was like it was an improv thing for me. It was like, yeah, we're supposed to make amends by the end of this, but it was like, actually, I don't want to make amends with you, actually.
I mean, really, it's a little bit understandable because that might have been his only shot at, you know, becoming human again.
Yeah.
That's like a kind of a big deal. You've been ghoulified, and now all of a sudden your chance that like you had it in the palm of your hand and just slipped through your fingers, you know. Like that's pretty rough.
Yeah. And then, oh my God, the dig when she was like, I'm just trying to protect my husband or whatever. And I was like, and look how good you did at that and walked out.
That,
Oh
that
my God.
was
I
ooh,
felt bad for that. I was like, Jesus, all right, calm down, Devin.
that was fucking harsh, dude. That was fucking harsh. Spider's a good sport though. I'm
Yes,
sure
no, it
she's
was
not
fun.
upset.
That back and forth. Yeah. We made amends in the end. And then we all died. So, well, they died.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, fair enough.
It definitely wasn't my fault. I didn't do anything.
Definitely was your fault.
But hey, Ghost, how about you? How about you and your character? I mean, did you get everything done that you wanted Ghost to do? What was the original design for your character? Like, is that how your character out? Because like for Otto, like I said, I mean, it was my original story for Otto was completely different. Was it for Ghost? I mean, Ghost was a season 1 or a season 2, exclusive character, I guess you could say. So he didn't have as much time to cook. But did he go the direction you wanted him to go?
Um, mostly, our ghost like essentially was a way for me to have a character that didn't need to be Loki.
Uh-huh.
And we can talk about Loki after we talk about Ghost, I guess. Because Loki had to like serve a purpose in season 1,
Yeah.
to kind of like guide the group because we had so many new players. I think we had 3 brand new players to Shadowrun in season 1. And it was like I was seeing like problems, with us like pulling on threads and then not exploring them. And I was like, this doesn't make a good show. And so I had to take Loki in like a different direction, but I'll talk about that in a minute. Ghost was really just a way for me to like have a character that I was going to have fun playing that I didn't need to be like in charge, which is pretty much, I think I pretty much did that. Uh, I didn't have to like make decisions. I didn't have to come up with the plans. I just had to be the guy who would go out and execute when everybody came up with like, okay, this is what we got to go do. And I feel like the role that he really played in season 2 was just keeping everybody on task. Like, no, we made a plan, let's go do it. We have a job, let's go do the job. So in that regard, yeah, I think he pretty much fulfilled the function that I wanted him to.
Mhm.
I don't know if there's like anything I really wanted to do with him except have fun just playing like a robot man. I didn't have any like, I mean, his backstory even was just a piggyback on Amazing's backstory because I didn't want a separate backstory
Mhm.
to have easy mode dig into, and then we have another one in the mix. The whole goal behind him was to like kind of streamline the season and make it a little bit more, I guess, like easy to follow the threads that we were put forth. Which we had a lot of problems with in season 1. There was a lot going on in season 1. And we really didn't even get to like do all this stuff. Like we talked about earlier, there's all this unfinished business essentially. We didn't get to do all the stuff in that season that that would have been probably like would have made a good story. I mean, all that separate
Yeah.
stuff would have made good stories by themselves. Um so yeah, I think he accomplished his goal. One of the things like I sort of didn't like about him, and we're hoping to rectify this in season 3 a little bit, with the new system and with the way that we're scheduling like karma. We have a karma schedule now, with what Easy and I have written. Ghost basically was the only one that leveled up throughout the entire thing, and like I sort of feel like bad about it because, and feel free to chime in on this, Easy. I feel like he got like too strong at the end because he was just like earning all this money, and with a rigger, like money is basically karma.
Mhm.
You don't need like you don't need to like enhance your ability. You just get like better toys. And he kept getting better toys and kept getting stronger and stronger. And like I sort of feel like he outpaced everybody else at the end, which was not my intention. So that's the one place that the direction I think he went that I never intended on. Uh but that's Easy's fault. So I blame him. Uh what do you think, Easy? Like did he get a little too strong at the end there?
No,
Really?
no.
Okay, never mind.
With the level of threat that you guys were up against, no.
No, I sort of feel like I guess like let me put it to you a different way. I sort of feel
Okay.
like the level of threat scaled with him, not with everybody else.
Yeah,
That
it was a
makes
power
sense.
creep situation.
Everyone else had access to the same amounts of money and could have put in to buy special ammunition or upgrade guns or do anything that they wanted, and they chose not to. So it's on them.
Also, I'm
Prize
just
on
smarter than
magic.
everybody else.
Well, you planned ahead.
I beat Shadowrun, everybody. Woo!
Everybody else was, I guess, I don't know if they expected me to hand it to them or something. It's like, this isn't D&D where you go into a dungeon and you crawl around the rooms and you find treasure that's hidden around. That's not how this game works. So if you come into it with that mentality, then you're not going to grow a whole lot as a character. Like
Okay.
your gear helps define you. You are correct in that. Your gear that you get for your character helps define you. Sometimes you need to think about like the gear that you want to help make your character stronger with what you're going up against. You guys had the research, you did the research, you knew what you were fighting, so
Yeah, like I
I
guess I
left
feel
it
less
to
bad.
you.
I don't feel nearly as bad now. Thank you for that. My
Hey,
my my guilt has been alleviated.
I'm here to explain things.
One of the things I didn't get to do was use those damn solar lamps.
Yeah,
Those
you didn't
those
didn't get to
like
use
UV
those.
lamps that I put on my truck and never got to use them. I was like expecting the airfield to have like a flood of those ghouls like coming off that airship or something, you know.
No, no, that's not where they were.
Where were they?
I know you guys were expecting like a horde of these super
Yeah.
ghouls. They're extremely difficult and costly to create. So no, there was never going to be a horde of
Shit.
them.
Okay.
I
Well,
love that you guys were preparing for it, like thinking there's going to be this wave of these super ghouls. No, I had never planned for you to fight a wave of super ghouls because you would just lose.
Yeah.
but I had the lights.
Okay,
I had the electric lights. It's what ghouls crave.
it's not what they crave. All it would have done would have caused some stun damage, and that's it.
No.
So
I had a giant machine gun.
yeah, that was what was helping rip them apart faster than what they could regenerate.
Yeah.
The other option was for you guys to use explosives, which
Mm.
no one really used.
Oh, excuse me?
Or you could have got the special ammunition that like is like liquid mercury tipped,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and that would have helped stop the regeneration as well.
Mercury rounds, huh?
Yeah, especially since you could have replaced the mercury with liquid silver.
Mm. Interesting.
So, again, all the options were there on the table. You guys just needed to I research them, or I mean, figure out that they exist. I don't know.
Hey, I made a spell specifically to counter them. I just then never went against them again because the
Yeah,
only
that's
time we
true.
did, I
That is
wasn't
true.
there.
Well, the spell was useful for other things too.
True.
Scheduling
So yes,
conflicts.
Yeah.
I'm just saying there was multiple other ways to handle the problem. I didn't make it
Okay.
insurmountable.
No, I mean like we definitely handled it. Right up until the end.
Right up
Well,
until
to be
the
fair, that
end.
was a different problem.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Oh, I specifically tailored that to you guys. I know you would be completely underprepared for it.
Well, it took me by surprise.
Took everybody by
I-
surprise.
Like that moment where like I tasked the drone to like attack anyone, and I was hoping it was going to come up and help us, and it stopped in
Mm-hmm.
the cafeteria, and I was just like, "Fuck."
Hey, help me.
Yep.
Yeah, it. And I
Yep.
was just like, God damn it, dude. And like the way I built him, he's like total. The way I built Ghost, so a complete glass cannon.
Yeah.
Like super strong, but if you catch him outside of like his van or with no drones around, like you could kill him like really, really easy.
My
You know,
God, it's almost like they had planned that.
almost, almost like they had that plan the whole time. Uh,
Crazy.
but yeah, like on Ghost, I think he mostly did what I wanted him to do. He was a lot of fun to play. He was a giant pain in the ass to put together. I don't think I'll do that again.
Mm.
He was a huge fucking pain in the ass to build, and Easy can attest to that because he helped me build him.
Yes. My God.
One thing I will say about building a vehicle or a drone in
SR3.
yeah, in third edition.
Oh boy.
Um,
I hope you like math.
well, like we did the math, and I couldn't fucking believe it. Because I did the math, like I sat there and crunched it for like 2 days, and when I what I came up with, I wasn't sure that it was right, but basically like I managed to fit two guns. Uh, I think it no, it didn't have a reloader on it. So like once he spends his ammo, he's out. But I managed
Mm.
to cram 17 vehicle armor onto that drone.
Jesus.
Yeah. Like it's basically enough vehicle armor. You couldn't just shoot it with a regular gun and have it do anything. You would have to like run it over or knock it down the stairs or drop it off of something or hit it with a car. Because the damage types are different.
Hmm.
So it that thing was basically that's why I didn't like send it in everywhere. Because once it goes in, it's like, okay, well, this thing can kill just like everything in here.
Yeah, that's fair.
Until it runs out of ammo, it's like you can't stop it. So yeah, like I try to like be sparing with Rover because the way I built it, it was like fucking indestructible.
Mm.
Which was cool. Um, but definitely like definitely a pain in the ass to build, and I don't think I'll do another rigger again. Um,
That's fair.
oh my god, I just said the naughty word.
You did.
I might have to bleep that out. I don't think I'll ever do another drone operator again. Um, because it was a giant pain in the butt. And I don't know if the new system is gonna be like different with all that. It probably will be. It'll probably be a lot easier.
Mm.
But in terms of like building another 3E1, so much work. And then like all the crap I had to like my character sheet has so many like notes on it, just like handwritten notes. Half of the time I could only find a pen, so they're like permanent, and I'm scratching stuff out and putting new stuff in. It's just like, okay, yeah, that's a lot. And I don't even have half the stuff on there that I needed. Like I kept having to look up like damage tables for weapons and stuff because they didn't have
Mm.
room.
Yeah.
They didn't have room on the index cards for them. So it was just like, yeah, nah. You want me to talk about Loki a little bit?
Yeah, I mean that was one of I think a lot of people liked Loki as a character.
I think so too. A lot of people also really hate him, and
Yeah.
whether you liked him or you hated him, or you liked him and hated him, good because it worked. Um, the that character did not go the way I expected him to go at all. Uh, he wound up filling like a role that wasn't in the intended role. He was basically built just to be like a face and kind of an asshole. Which he was definitely both of those things. But it wound up being a situation of we wound up needing like somebody to like an experienced Shadowrun player to sort of guide the cast in like the first half of season one because things were getting like real sloppy and like we were pulling on threads and then not following them up, and there was just a lot going on, and we needed somebody that was going to like streamline the whole thing, and kind of keep everybody grounded a little bit. So that's what he sort of had to wind up becoming. Um, there were some role play moments in season one that were definitely not intended. Things like Loki having a drug problem was never intended. Um, things like Loki being like nervous and like sweating, like literally he has a power that he doesn't do that. I can't remember what it's called, but he has that one that like he doesn't sweat and he's in complete control of like his body language. Those beats right there were from other people basically like role playing my character for me and injecting things that into like the story that I never intended to like to have happen.
Mm-hmm.
But when that happened, I didn't look at it as like a bad thing. I looked at it as like an opportunity for me to do more role play.
Mm.
So I just like went with him. And it turned him into something that like completely different than what I intended for him to be. Um, but I think it turned out pretty good too. He was definitely supposed to be a character that you could dislike. I fully intended him for him to be a character that people are like fucking Loki, dude. And given the comments that I've seen on YouTube, I think I did a really good job with that. A lot of people don't like him, but at the same time, I feel like he's also pretty redeemable
Mm-hmm.
because he clearly isn't completely selfish. He's clearly a narcissist, but he's also not a completely selfish asshole that really does care about his friends. Just has a terrible way of like expressing that and showing it.
Mm.
Um, and I think I managed to do a pretty good job at, creating that like weird dichotomy of, selfish, narcissistic asshole, but also the dude that you call when nobody else can help. You know what I mean? And he's going to get it done for you. You might not
Yeah.
want to call him, but when you call him, like you're going to get results kind of thing. Uh, so he was like a very like complex character to play. And I had to do some really weird stuff in my own personal headspace to be able to play him because that's not how I am at all. You know, I'm not that guy that Loki was in any way. So it was like a weird thing for me to have to do, in
Mm-hmm.
terms of being able to role play him because it was like it just felt so unnatural. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but to me, like that I think is probably like the best purest part about being able to play like a tabletop RPG is to do something you would never or could never, do yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to like to break into, you know, I guess like that headspace, it was very weird, man. It was very weird for me to get into that whole thing and kind of try to like step into his shoes. But I think it turned out really well. I
Mm-hmm.
like him. He's like one of my favorite characters that I ever played. Uh, Probably just based on that, based on how complex and like different he is, and he's multifaceted and had like all kinds of like subtle stuff going on. None of it was really overt. Like if you just, you know, gloss over like all the little stuff, he just looks like an asshole.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of people killing him looking at you that like have literally said, "Oh, if he was at my table, I would have punched him in the face and then kicked him out of my game." Like that's fair. That's fair. That just means I did a good job at playing the role that I wanted for him to fill.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but he was definitely an interesting character. I think that's the first time I've played a social adept, and I fully intended for him at the beginning to be like a complete like narcissist. Like I think we had talks about doing like a patron only Dante's Lust Floor episode.
Oh boy.
Because clearly that's not safe for work, and we are not putting that out on the internet.
Yeah.
Um, but like behind the scenes, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, so we go to the Lust Floor. What does Loki do? And then it came to me, I was like, this is how much of an asshole and a narcissist Loki is. Loki would go and find the hottest girl and the hottest guy on the floor and go up to each of them, whisper in their ear and use his commanding voice, and then disappear into the back room with them. Then, like an hour later, he comes back out and somebody's like, "Oh, did you have a good time?" And like, "Oh no, I just watched."
Jesus Christ.
That's what Loki would have done. Okay. He would have done all that manipulating just to go and like watch and be like, yeah, I did that. I just made that happen. Look at them go. You know what I mean? So like he's definitely like one of my favorite characters that I've played because of like little shit like that. I was able to really like get into him and you know and I'm sad I had to retire him, but he did need to go for the sake of the story.
Yeah.
Because he like his purpose like was fulfilled, you know, at the end of season one. He wasn't needed anymore because the new players that we had a better grip on what Shadowrun was and what we were doing.
Right.
So that need for like the kind of like grounding or guidance or whatever, you know, from an experienced player, like somebody basically being in charge, needed to go away because I didn't want to like have a second season where I had to play this character that needed to be in charge. And Loki had to be in charge.
Right.
Like, he needed to be the boss. Um, because I wanted everybody else to like have a chance to shine, you know? So that's my story on him. I hope that helps the viewers out there understand the character a little bit more and maybe you hate him a little bit less. But it's okay if you still hate him because I sort of hate him too, even though I also love the character at the same time. And I think that's the way he was supposed to be. So you guys want to talk a little bit about season 3 without giving anything away?
I will do my best to not give anything away.
Okay. Well, you don't
All
know
right.
anything, so it shouldn't be hard for you.
Fair enough.
You know a little bit. You know a little bit.
I know more than what they know, so
That's true. That's true. Okay, so like I said at the beginning, we are ending the current storyline. Asgard and Jotunheim are still going to be canon. All the characters in our world still exist, but we are starting a new story with new characters. It's going to be starting off in Seattle, probably going to some other places. Um, but we feel like it's time to, you know, we feel like the whole Asgard thing has sort of run its course, and it's time for us to move on to, you know, bigger and better stories, and well, maybe not bigger and better, but definitely different stories. Um, and we have a really good one set up for you. We're going to be moving to Anarchy. I got a chance to playing a game with Goblin from Dragon's Greed Gaming. He does the Pay Data show. You guys haven't listened to that show. Fantastic show. You can check out Pay Data over on Dragon's Greed Gaming. They're on Spotify and all other major podcast platforms. But Goblin's a great GM, and he's got me playing in like a short little like spinoff from Pay Data called The Worst of Us that hasn't dropped yet. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But it's an Anarchy game, and the reason we're switching is because I played in one game of it and I was like, okay, this is like very streamlined. It's very easy to tell a story. Um, there's some really like simple character building, you know, methods. It's not a whole lot of number crunching or anything like that. And as you guys know here, we don't really go in for like all the crunchiness that Shadowrun has. I mean, if you want that in your game and you want to do math and you want to roll dice, Shadowrun is the game for you. But we're really focused more on like narrative storytelling, and Anarchy makes everything so simple and smooth, and combat goes so easy. And you know, that's the reason that I think we're going to switch to that. We're at least going to give it a try with some one shots this summer. So coming up, if you guys want to join, also there will be slots available. We're going to be doing a bunch of them. So it's going to be first come, first serve. Patrons get first crack at them. We're going to be trying to bring people in from other podcasts. And if you guys are out there, join our Discord. You can find links in our latest episode description. Hop on into the Discord, get yourself verified, make sure you fill out the captcha and everything like that, so we know you're not a bot that's going to spam us with fucking OnlyFans links. Fuck you, OnlyFans bots, very much right in the fucking face hole. But as long as you're not a bot, you can get on in, and we'll try to get you into a game if you want to play a game with us. So there's going to be lots of opportunities coming up for that. But you got to be in the Discord because that's where we're organizing it all. So, but we're going to be switching to Anarchy, and we are going to be playing a dock wagon team that gets into some shit, and that's about all I'm going to say on it. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but the story we have is probably the best one we've written so far. The idea that we have like cooked up, it's going to be pretty fragging awesome. And we're very, very excited to share it with you. It's going to be a couple of months before we start recording again. Because personally, I need a fucking break. I'm tired, guys.
Yes. Break, please, break.
I'm tired. Okay. We do a lot to bring these shows to you, and we've been dropping a show a week for 2 years, and like I need to just rest for a little bit. So these one shots that we're going to be doing are going to be like our little test ground to make sure that we want to move to this system, but most likely that's what's going to be happening. You got anything to say on season 3, Easy?
No, I don't want to give away anything. I want it to all be a big surprise.
Okay, cool. Well, I think we covered all that. So let's wrap up with some questions from the viewers. We have some silly ones, and then we have some actual ones. So why does Bear hate his cars? He's not here, so I'm gonna have to answer for him. Maybe you guys can chime in and give your opinions on why Bear hates his cars. I don't think he hates his cars. I just think that he's so used to having, expensive items just be disposable for him because of his background, that he just doesn't look at them the same way that everybody else would.
I think that makes more sense.
I got one specifically for you, Otto. Where is Otto's phone?
I think it is I don't know. I think he had it on in technology. No, I think it's still in the tunnels. So underneath a bunch of dead bodies.
Didn't you throw it against a wall or something?
No, yeah, but I got a new one, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
He broke one and it was replaced, and then I
left it
gone.
In a tunnel system. Yeah.
And then it's gone again, yeah.
It's okay. I don't really need it right now, so.
Okay.
Officially lost once more.
Robokaze, when? All right. Well,
do we want to talk about that?
I'll talk briefly on it. I'll speak on it briefly.
Okay.
I can't promise you guys anything, but there is potential for Kaze to come back at some point. I don't know if it's going to happen, or if it does, if it's going to look the way that we had discussed. But I can say, like pretty affirmatively, that Kaze is alive, sorta, kinda.
No,
he's living.
I mean,
He's
is
alive.
it really living though? If you're in there,
Technically, it's still living.
Okay.
Yeah.
Technically, Kaze is still alive, so we could potentially see him return. For a little like mini arc to kind of like wrap his whole story up. I can't promise you anything. I don't know when it's going to happen or if it's going to happen, but it has been discussed. So I think we'll leave it there. So don't write him off yet. A lot of people have been asking for that, actually. A lot of people want to know what happened to Kaze. And if we can work it out and make it work, I want to do it. But I can't promise you anything, so, take it there. But there is potential. You might see him again. The Zero's Tacos truck stopped by Asgard.
Yes, I believe it does.
Okay. So he brings tacos to Asgard
On occasion.
every now and then.
It's a
All
treat.
right.
Every now and then.
All right, there we go. So that question answered. Let me get into the crit pick because I got some from some patrons. Okay, will there be a transcript of season 2 content available for the deaf community? I don't think I ever even thought about that. Well, I'm not. I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to go and transcribe the whole thing. If I can find a way to automate it, maybe. Um,
I'm
Yeah,
sure
we
there's an
can.
app out there.
I'm pretty sure there is too. If we can find a way to do that, absolutely. Otherwise, not in the foreseeable future.
yeah, like there's so much. I mean, you figure we have 100
There's a
episodes
lot.
at like over an hour each, pretty much. There's a few of them that are under an
Yeah.
hour, but most of them are like an hour 15, an hour 20. Um, that's a lot to like have to like actually transcribe. Oh, Karma. Okay. So Karma just sent me something. Turbo Scribe, transcribe audio, video to text. Start transcribing for free. Convert unlimited audio and video files to accurate text. 99.8% accuracy, 98 plus languages. Transcribes a sec.
Oh, the recording stopped. Yeah.
For some reason I dropped
Okay.
and now I'm back.
Yeah, you can't insult your AI overlords.
Yeah, how dare you mock them?
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
problem.
Well, I'm not going to do that anymore. Okay. I'll look into
that
it.
one might be better. That one might be better. But yeah.
All right, I'm not reading that because I'm scared now.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
That's fair. That's fair.
So yeah, okay, possibly. My biggest like worry is that it's if it does transcribe it, it's not going to have like everybody's names in front of like what they're saying.
That's fair.
So you're going to have to just assume who's talking, and that might be rough.
Yeah.
But I will see what I can do, but I can't promise you anything on that. If we do it, it's probably just going to be some automated system, and I don't know how that good that's going to be. So, will there ever be a chance for y'all to play IRL round a table? Probably not.
No, that's probably not.
Logistically, that's really difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have half of our players
with-
are like thousands of miles away from us.
Yeah, when half of our players are on the other side of the country, makes it difficult. We're able to make it work time wise, like.
Oh my god,
Barely.
You know what we're gonna have to do?
What?
We're all gonna have to just go to Gen Con one year. And
yeah,
like,
I mean, we could do it that way.
And
we all
we
plan
can
to meet up
record
at
an
a
entire
con.
season. We can record an entire season there.
No, 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 we can't.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm really sure.
I think we could fit it into like if we don't sleep in like 3 days, constant recording.
No. No. Absolutely not.
just break out the Nova Coke, boys, and we'll just like crack out the hotel room.
No, that's not even enough. It's not enough.
It's like
I'm sorry.
Walter White, we need your help.
Jeez.
Yeah, like one of like my dream, honestly, would be to have like a podcasting studio and to be able to pay people enough to make it worth their while to come out for like a month and record a season over a period of like 30 days.
Yeah.
But I would need to be able to like pay people, considerable money for that. And as it stands right now, we're barely like scraping by.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah, you guys that are out there supporting us on Patreon, the only reason we were able to do this is because of you. And fucking thank you for that, because we still got stories to tell, and without you, we couldn't do it. Like Easy and I will tell you, like, we've spent like thousands of dollars getting this thing going. And
yes,
like I don't have any more money to put into it. So without you guys helping us pay the bills every month, dude, none of this would happen.
The only other option is one of us hits the lottery.
And I don't play the lottery, so I thought about it when it was like up to 2 billion or whatever it was. Like,
right.
I thought about it. I drive past that goddamn sign every day, dude. But like,
should have done it.
Maybe I should.
Can't win if you don't play.
That's true. You got a good point. You also can't lose either.
Also true.
Also true. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing about casinos. I've spent my fair share of time at casinos. If you never sit down, you walk out of there with the same amount of money you walked in with.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
also true. Uh-huh.
But yeah, like I ideally like my dream is to just have like a studio and get everybody out for like a month and just do IRL recordings and get the whole season done in like a month and then edit it all and release it. Excuse me. But I don't think that that's like foreseeable unless we crack off big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, tell your friends, tell your friends to come support us on Patreon. It's $5 a month. We keep it as cheap as possible. And I try to cram as many benefits in as we can possibly think of, for you guys for that $5. I want to make it worth your while because you are being generous enough to like not only spend your time like, watching or listening to the stories that we're telling, but also to help support us financially so we can keep telling them. And that's huge for us, man. And, you know, uh, I can't express enough how much we appreciate that because again, we wouldn't be able to do it without your support. So if you guys want to see improvements and you want things to, keep moving, tell other people that might enjoy the show, to check out our Patreon and, just throw us a couple bucks if they can afford it. I don't want anybody to feel obligated. But for you guys that do, man, it's huge for us and we appreciate the hell out of you guys. So uh, next question. Easy. Who was your favorite NPC?
Oh, Sam Hickory.
Okay. Sam might be my favorite too. He was awesome, dude.
Yeah, he was one of my favorite NPCs that we created. Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, definitely one of my favorites. Definitely one of the most memorable. Other than Kevin, but I feel like that's a holdover from previous games that we had played before we had started doing this whole recording bit. So
Yeah.
from the show specifically, definitely Sam.
Yeah, I like Sam Hickory too. To the rest of the crew, what's the NPC you just love to hate to love the most?
Sam Hickory.
Sam Hickory. Yeah.
Weird how that doesn't change.
Yes, it's Sam Hickory. The answer to that is Sam Hickory to both of those.
Two Sam Hickories.
Oh God. Well, there kind of was two Sam Hickories.
Sort of.
Yes.
Sorta.
Yeah, he was trying to use a body double and it didn't work out so well, but he tried.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. When an all decker game.
Oh God.
That might be kind of cool.
We could probably do it in Anarchy.
Yeah, I guess it works different. But if we did that, it would be easier to do it in Anarchy, definitely.
I think it's a cool concept. It's something I'll consider for future seasons, but I would have to come up with like a compelling story to tell. And that's the main thing.
It's difficult. It's difficult to do an all Matrix story.
Yeah. Like we would have to like come up with some kind of like, you know, hackers movie type plot or something, and then just do it better than that, which admittedly is a low bar. I think we could pull that off,
What are you talking about? Hackers was a golden standard of cinema.
Well, what was the name of the supercomputer? The Gibson?
Yeah.
We're gonna hack into the Gibson, man.
I don't.
Hey, look. All right. Here's what I'll say. That movie was fun. Okay, it was terrible.
That's all it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Is fun.
It was fun. Okay. And it was prime Angelina Jolie too. So, that's all I'm gonna say about that.
That's all that needs to be said about that.
But yeah, like, I mean, that's not off the table. An all decker game isn't off the table. I've thought about it before. I've considered it. It's mostly a situation of we got to be able to tell a compelling story, which means we have to figure out what that story is and why it really only like is in the Matrix, or mostly in the Matrix, I guess. I mean, it doesn't have to entirely, be in cyberspace. Some of it could happen in meat space. In fact, the most compelling part of a story like that might be that these guys who really only, live online, or like terminally online people essentially have to go out into the real world in order to like solve the mystery or, confront the, bad guy or whatever. That seems like it might be the most compelling part of the whole thing. So there might be something to dig into, but we would have to really sit down and think about, the story that we want to tell and how we can, make it good, and then look at the whole thing and figure out whether or not it's like a worthy concept to really like dive into. Um, so it's not off the table. We don't have plans on it right now. We're really like trying to buckle down and like do season 3. Our season 3 story is pretty awesome. Uh, but it's not off the table for a future season. So yeah, I've considered it, and I've talked to Easy about it too. It's possible. So it's not outside the realm of, discussion, but for right now, man, right now we're just going to focus on season 3, and we'll see if we can revisit that subject later and come up with something that is worth creating a story around. So any chance you'll create something like a SINless wiki that would contain the canon content of the games?
Maybe.
Yeah, I feel like that's if we get big enough to justify it, really,
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with
like
that.
that's something that's going to take a while. I mean, someone would have to watch every episode and then take notes of basically just take episodes and then put them online. Wow.
Yeah. Well, here's what I'll say: is anybody out there that wants something like that? I am not opposed to you making that.
Yeah, that's also fair.
Like I don't have time to do that right now.
If you
Maybe
want a fan create it, I give you the green light.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the same reason that like we don't have our own subreddit. I know like there's some of the other Shadowrun, podcasts like made their own subreddit and stuff. And I didn't really feel like we were deserving of that,
That's mid.
Yeah, I mean, like
I feel like that's something that should happen organically too.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
I don't want to just
I
go
don't know.
make my own subreddit.
You can. I don't see anything wrong with that, but then you gotta like moderate it and like, be in there all the time. Yeah,
extra time that we don't have right now.
Yeah, I don't know that there's enough discussion around our show for something like that. And so that's why I like never even like went out and did that. I just like post our stuff in like the Shadowrun one, you know. But like with the wiki, the same thing. I don't necessarily know that there's like enough buzz around the show that a wiki's warranted. But if you guys enjoy the show enough and you think like something like that would have value, feel free to like go off, man. Like go make it happen. Anything that's in our final episodes is canon as far as we're concerned. So feel free to like start building something like that. I mean, as far as I know, anybody can edit a wiki. So, if you want to get on there and start making one, please like go for it. I don't personally have the time though. I'm too busy trying to just make the shows. I have like my hands full just with that. We have 2 podcasts, that are also a YouTube series, and then we're going to add a third one with these one shots that we're doing with all these people. So that's a lot, dude. And I'm not gonna be able to do it, but yeah, if you guys want it and you think there's value there and you feel it's worth your time, don't let me stop you. I think that would be cool as hell. Let's see here. Playing in the older edition, what do you think you'd like to see from newer editions be introduced, assuming the game timelines progress as the canon Shadowrun timeline does? Ooh, easy.
Can I answer this one first?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Go. Oh, wait. Well, is this with lore specific or rules and like mechanic specific?
It doesn't specify.
Okay, I have one for rules and mechanics. Basically do nothing like 3E and do everything like 5E. All right, you guys can go.
Okay. So basically just ruin Shadowrun is what you're saying. Got it. Okay.
I mean,
So anyway, moving on.
Oh my god.
I think he's talking about lore.
Probably.
This is Tim, by the way. Tim's asking this question, by the way. So Tim,
Okay.
I
shout out
would
to you.
love more information on the horrors, but
You will never get that.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the
You'll
ambiguous bad guy for a reason.
no, that's not why he'll never get it.
Oh, why will we
Me
never get it?
specifically. Everyone else can get it. Me
No,
specifically,
no,
I don't get it.
they'll never progress it in the they'll never progress it in the lore
Yeah.
because that was a FASFA creation when they had the rights to Earth Dawn, and currently Catalyst doesn't have the rights to Earth Dawn.
Ah,
So
Yeah.
they've been trying to eliminate a lot of that suspected correlation to Earth Dawn as iterations of Shadowrun have come out. Like you hear less and less about it with each new edition. Like 6th edition, I don't think mentions anything about it at all.
I don't
And they're
think it
trying
does now.
it doesn't. They're trying to move more into like the meta planes and these other kind of entities that exist out there so they can try and get away from the horrors and that whole aspect. So they're but for the Shadowrun community, they hardcore exist and they're ingrained in there, and it was actually a big part of Shadowrun lore because it made it through 3 editions, technically a little bit into 4th. So
yeah, pretty awesome. I mean,
yeah, but
horrible.
you'll never get them progressed unless Catalyst somehow gets their hands on Earth Dawn, which I don't see happening anytime ever.
So what do you actually want to see added from the newer editions? I mean, this is assuming that the game timeline progresses as the Shadowrun timeline does, but I mean, we're kind of bumping our timeline up anyway in season 3 and moving to a more modern edition. So, I mean,
Let's see. Oh, because we're jumping like oh god, I don't know when Anarchy starts, but if it's 5E timeline, we're jumping like 20 years in the future, I believe.
something like that.
I think it takes place during the 70s.
Yeah, we're gonna be in like the late 60s, early 70s for this
Yeah,
next season, I'm pretty sure.
The fuck happens during that time period?
Uh
Nothing cool, that's for sure.
yeah,
I'm pulling the wiki.
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure the CFD outbreak happened somewhere along there.
Oh yeah, lame stuff.
We're still not
But
answering the question. This is a hard question.
This is a hard question.
Yeah, Tim, you got us a stumper here, buddy.
I do have an answer.
Okay.
Mine would be progressing more into the mystic realm a little bit, and they are kind of doing this in 6th edition. Like they're stepping their toes in to, I guess, test the waters where they'll expand the meta planes a little bit, because that's something that's not touched on at all. The meta planes have always been this like otherworldly amalgamation of a bunch of possible different realms that exist somewhere.
Yeah.
So actually establishing rules and kind of like a hierarchy of the planes type deal could be interesting and add a little bit more for the mystic side of Shadowrun while still keeping the cyberpunk feel to it.
Okay.
Because I don't want to progress so far to where we're no longer in the cyberpunk genre, but in the sci-fi genre. And
yeah,
I know it's not very popular to say, and a lot of people do like it, but the whole CFD infection with nanites seems to be jumping really far into more of the realm of sci-fi as opposed to cyberpunk. That's my own personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have to agree on that one.
Yeah,
but
I agree with that.
I stand with it,
So you don't want to see ghouls in space?
No, I don't.
All right.
Like I'd rather leave it where it's at, where there's the stuff on the moon, there's the couple orbitals that are around, and there's the established base on Mars, and I think that's where it should stop.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything I personally like lore wise really care about. um, from like newer editions or really older editions. I mean, 3E was like a pretty strong point in Shadowrun lore for me.
Hmm.
To me, the Shadowrun game is really just like futuristic dystopia, high tech, low life, mega corporations as the general like kind of bad guy, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
clearly like there's like generic bad guys that you get in the form of like the Halloweeners and Humanus, but they're not like very compelling to me. They're like those are like the guys you throw in when you need like a fight to happen, and then they just get murdered, and then you go back on to doing whatever it was you were doing in the story, you know. Um, like I don't think that those groups really have like they're I don't know they're not really compelling enough to build an entire like campaign around. I mean, you could, and people have done it, but for me, they just like feel very like generic cookie cutter. Um, you know, I mean, everybody knows like, oh yeah, like the fucking psychos and the racists are bad guys. Okay, we get it. Like we know that already. But like with a mega corporation, like they're like a little more insidious, and I think it hits a little bit closer to home for me. And I like that feel when it comes to my Shadowrun, when in my cyberpunk like worlds, that's the compelling part. And I don't think that really changes in future editions. I think that's still sort of the situation all around. Um, so I don't know that there's anything I would even really want to bring in. I think like whatever they already have is fine. It's since the main things that I like about the genre are it's like the setting and it's the kind of dichotomy between like your regular person just trying to like make a living and then like being crushed underneath the heels of like these giant conglomerates that control everything and don't answer to anyone. That I think is a pretty standard thread throughout all the editions, and that's what does it for me about the setting anyway. So I I really don't care what they bring in, as long as that's still there. What about you, Karma?
Um, yeah, I don't know. I think I kind of I don't know. I don't, it's such a hard idea. I mean, I haven't been playing Shadowrun for as long as, well, God, either two of you, but like a lot of people, I mean, I'm still kind of newer in it. I think it's been a bit over 2 years, but and the lore and stuff like that, I haven't gone super majorly into it and stuff like that. I'm just here for the ride. Um, and I've just never been into like a lot of lore. I mean, if you listen to our, my fucking podcast, it's very obvious that I like to take how the world works and not listen to it. Um, I mean, literally within the first episode of our podcast, I broke like numerous rules on how the world works because I thought it was cooler. But don't get me wrong, I still love the world, but like, it doesn't affect me very much. I kind of have I like the setting and I like how the lore works, but it is kind of I definitely don't pay attention to it when I am planning and playing the game. So, but I think what's interesting is I don't know how they say they stick with it for like years, like they keep making additions. I don't know how they couldn't make it more sci-fi, like that's just kind of how that's how technology progresses. The entire fucking thing's about technology and magic going further. Um, so just like not really a counter towards Easy's point, but just like it would be interesting to see. I feel like if they tried to keep it in the just a cyberpunk vibe. It feels like it does kind of lock them in a blockade, just because eventually you can only get so cyberpunk before you hit the sci-fi area, and at that point you can't really progress farther. I mean, this is my personal opinion. Obviously, I'm sure you could, by tweaks shit and stuff like that, and they still have magic to progress as well, so it kind of slows down the process just because they have to kind of progress things on two other ends. I am curious how they can, continue progressing magic. Obviously, with the whole fucking meta planes and exploring all of that and stuff like that. That's obviously pretty exciting because the meta planes have just kind of been like Matt said, it's just kind of a thing that's there, and it's it's a thing that you can explore and make up your own lore for because it's just that mysterious. So it is kind of cool them making more lore about it and setting more giving more inspiration and ideas towards it for people to make their own um stuff relating to it. But when it comes to technology, I do feel like there's a set point because technology, it is something that we can, I think it has to do with comprehension. Like technology is something we can comprehend. Like a cyber arm, we can understand like how that works. And eventually it reaches a point to where it has to reach a point where we don't really understand. Like they introduce teleportation, which is like one of the things in Shadowrun. It's like, yeah, that's not a thing. Which we broke in the first episode, but that's not important. Um, but I feel like that I think that's kind of the difference between like cyberpunk and sci-fi is really the comprehension of how it works, quantum mechanics and stuff like that. And I just don't see how you can continue progressing technology to a point where it keeps grounded, I guess. But with the magic, they can do whatever the fuck they want because it's magic, They don't have to justify it. That's kind of the point of it. And they don't, you know.
Well,
That's my take on whatever I just said.
I can tell you right now exactly how they would justify it. They would just go with the Wesley Crusher route and reverse the polarity.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
That's how you
get out. Leave. Just leave.
Come on, man. TNG was
done.
great, dude.
You're done. You're done.
All right.
You have overplayed your hand.
I'm going home, but I am home. I'm recording this from home. Where do I go?
You can come over to my place.
I gotta leave my house, you guys. He just kicked me out of my own house from across town.
I have that much GM power, everybody.
The GM of the world.
Don't underestimate my power.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. I haven't seen the show yet, so ignore this one if irrelevant. Well, he's watching the show, but he hasn't watched the whole thing yet. So ignore this one if irrelevant. But how did you all imagine yourselves dealing with a character death during play/recording? I guess you're just gonna have to. Go ahead. You go ahead. You go first.
Well, I mean, not, ignoring the ending when everyone fucking died. I mean, we didn't really get to react to it as players because, everyone except two people die. So, and those two people get separated. So, and that was the end of it. So we didn't, our characters didn't get to react to it. But, like if it happened I think it depends. Like, I think if Ghost died, I think everyone would have been like, damn. All right. But yeah, I just think like if like Bear or Spider or someone like that died, I don't know. I think it just depends on it would have sucked, but like I don't think really any of us were attached enough to like in game to like do a full-fledged like funeral. I think Bear would have done something like even Otto, at least season 2 Otto, like if Bear died, he would have been like, damn, I wonder what he tastes like, and then moved on, like that sucks that my friend died. But I think that's just kind of thing in Shadowrun though. Like our job is literally like Shadowrunners don't make it, like most die early and that's the job. I think that's just kind of something like our characters would accept going into it. I mean, we've probably seen, I know, like Otto's backstory, he worked with past Shadowrunners that like, he worked with people that died. Like anyone dying in his group is kind of like, that's the standard. So, yeah, I think it's just kind of, I don't think it would have been as big of a deal as you thought it would have been. Cause like, yeah, we were a family, but like, it's just kind of how the world works. Death is literally, we literally murdered people every single day. Our own friends getting murdered is just part of the job.
Yeah, it's sort of what you sign up for. And
yeah,
I think going into the whole thing, you have to consider that these aren't the most forward-thinking people when you're playing a Shadowrunner. You're playing a professional criminal, and the way that I like to look at it is sort of like the way that the characters in the movie Heat treat each other. They're all professionals. They all know that they have a job to do, and they all know that they might not walk away. And when that happens, they all care about each other, but when it happens, like nobody expects you to stop and pick them up.
Mm-hmm.
because you got to like keep yourself alive, kind of thing. You're probably right. If I had to guess, and they're not here, so I don't want to put words in their mouth. So this is entirely speculation on my end. But if I had to guess, I think that probably Bear would have been the most, I guess, like affected by
Mm-hmm.
a character death because his character seemed like a very friendly character that just wanted to be buddies with everybody, you know. Like Ghost, for example, didn't care about any of y'all. You
Yeah.
know, he didn't even care about himself. You know, is the way that I was playing him. Like, I mean, that character to me like was basically like somebody that was already dead and just like hadn't realized it yet, kind of. So he probably wouldn't have cared about anybody. I don't think Otto would have cared about pretty much anybody dying.
Yeah.
Um, season one Imaging might have.
Yeah.
Uh, season two Imaging probably not. Um, Loki definitely would have, but he would have tried to hide it. He would have tried to pretend like it wasn't a big deal, but he definitely would have been affected. Um, but again, that character was like complex enough that I could do something like that with him.
Yeah.
Uh, Kaze might have, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I think Kaze probably would have, like, given his like his stance of being, like a happy-go-lucky optimist type, character.
Mm-hmm.
I think like a player death probably would have affected him, more than most of the rest of us.
Yeah.
How he would have reacted, I have no idea because I wasn't playing his character. So you'd have to ask Austin about that. Um, but you know, I figure that's probably the breakdown of like who would have had feelings about stuff. I don't think Spider would have cared.
Yeah. No.
Now they should have been like, all right, well, we couldn't save him. That's rough. All right, so you guys want to go get tacos? you know, um, you got anything on that easy mode?
Mm, no, I don't have anything else
Okay,
to
Yeah.
add to
Fair
that.
enough.
all right. In one of the Worm Talk episodes, you talked about your origins wanting to make an animation, but realizing the level of complexity. Will you consider making a short animation? Fiverr has lots of cool animators to commemorate season two somehow. I would love to, Tim, but
So expensive.
it's so expensive.
That's so expensive.
So I'll put it to you like this: if we hit a goal of 100 patrons, then I will save the Patreon money and I will make something. But like, I need the money to be able to do it right. If I'm going to do it, I don't want some bullshit. And what we can afford right now, going to be some bullshit. So I don't want to put anything out that's not like something that I'm like, this is dope. Um, if we're going to do it, like I want to do it right, and that's probably going to be like $4,000 or $5,000 for like a 2 minute, little segment. Um,
Yeah.
I think it would be super cool to have like a, you know, little SINless, the animated series X-Men style, you know, anime opening. I think that would be like fragging dope, dude. It's just a matter of the money. So if we hit 100 patrons, and the only way we can do that is if you guys put the word out and tell people about us, and you know, hopefully they will come by and support, and feel like they're getting enough value out of the extra stuff they get off the Patreon to throw us a couple bucks. Then then I will absolutely do that. I will save the money from that in order to be able to make that happen. Because that is like a dream of mine. Um, but until we get there, I mean, I'm not taking out a loan to do it. So, like, I've already done that before, and like I'm still paying it off to this day. So, yeah, like yeah, if we can make it happen, then we will. But until we get there, that one's definitely on the back burner.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome though. I already have like the storyboards in my head for like what I want.
Mm.
Like I can see it already happening, you know what I mean? But yeah, I would need to we would need to be able to find somebody that's willing to do like good work and do it like, well, not not just some like slap together like stuff. And unfortunately, like Fiverr, you get a mixed bag on there, man. I've worked with some Fiverr people before, and some of it is great, and some of it is not so great. Um, so we would love to, but until we hit about 100 patrons, I don't think we're going to be able to afford it. I think that's all the questions we got, you guys.
All right.
Anything anybody else wants to put out here?
I got nothing.
No,
Easy?
I think that covers everything, right?
Yeah, I think so, man. Well, shit. We appreciate the fuck out of everybody who has watched us for 2 whole seasons. I mean, it's been a crazy journey. We've been doing this for 2 years now, and we're looking forward to season 3. Like I said, brand new story. We hope you guys are going to enjoy it. And we'll hope you join us back here for that season when we start that up again. It's coming. It's going to take a while though, because like I said, I need a break. Um, yeah, like this whole thing has been like real rough on me. I don't talk about it a whole lot, but doing all this stuff, it's a lot. More than I ever expected to be doing, but it's super fun. I love doing it. We want to keep doing it. I just need a little time to like not do anything for a little while, or at least do it like a lot less for like a few months and just like chill out for a little bit and spend some time with my family and you know that kind of stuff. So we will be coming back, and we hope you guys are gonna enjoy season 3. I think it's gonna be our best season yet. So real quick, before we end, I wanted to give all you guys, and this is something, unless you check the patron today, or not the patron, the Discord today, we are #1 on FeedSpot for the 20 best Shadowrun podcast for tabletop RPGs. I submitted our stuff a little while ago, and man, we are #1, dude. Like balling out of control. So thank you to all of you you fans out there who have been enjoying our stories enough to keep watching and everything. We hit #1 on FeedSpot, and it's all thanks to you guys. I'm looking forward to season 3 because I'm going to start submitting our stuff for like award shows and things like that. Season 1 and season 2, like I'm happy with the way that they turned out, but I think we can do better, and I didn't want to start doing that until we're like, I think we're just now hitting our groove on production and quality and storytelling, and like figuring out how to like make a good show and make a good podcast. And I think season 3 is where we're gonna like really hit our stride, and that's when I plan on starting to submit some of our stuff for these award shows and things like that. And so like keep your eyes peeled in the Discord for updates on that. When I do that stuff, I'm gonna need you guys to go over there and vote. So make sure you guys are in the Discord, and like I said, there's a link in episode description where you can find that stuff, get an invite to that, and get on in there and interact with some of the other fans and become part of the conversation. So but I think that's gonna do it for this one. Man, easy, Karma, thank you guys very much. And once again, go check out An Absolute Dreckstorm of a podcast if you haven't already. They got a fantastic show. Things go off the rails immediately, like right away, and they never get back on.
Yeah.
So if you want a crazy Shadowrun podcast and a whole lot of fun, then that's a great place to go and get some of that. So make sure you guys go check out An Absolute Dreckstorm. You can find them on Twitter. You can find them in their own Discord. They got their own Discord with a fantastic cooking chat that I occasionally post in. And a bunch of good people over there. There's a lot of crossover between our two shows. So if you guys like our show, you're going to love their show, and you should absolutely check them out. But until next time, I'm Dr. Friendship. We're Critical Hits. You are all amazing, and we are out of here. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much for enjoying our show, and we're looking forward to bringing you some more dope Shadowrun stuff coming up here soon. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
The Topps Company Inc. has sole ownership of the names, logo, artwork, marks, photographs, sound, audio, video, and/or any proprietary materials used in connection with the game Shadowrun.
The Topps Company Inc. is granted permission to Critical Hits to use such names, logos, artwork, photographs, sound, audio, video, and or any proprietary materials for promotional and informational purposes on its website, but does not endorse and is not affiliated with Critical Hits in any official capacity whatsoever.